you have a goal to do 10 deals this year, right?
Yeah.
I would say that's easily achievable with everything you got going on. And if you time block back in those cold calls or that effort to prospect or use everything that we just talked about before we hopped on here to really truly execute and leverage those open houses, you could triple that number.
Right.
If
I triple that number, I don't have to be a delivery driver anymore.
And here we go to living your peak life, right?
That's right.
Like that's the whole
right.
goal here is if you don't want to be a delivery driver anymore, let's get you there.
Yeah.
But we got to execute the game plan, right?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Your Peak Life podcast. Let's conquer the summit of life and reach the apex of our potential.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Your Peak Life podcast. My guest today is Kristy Flynn, a member of the Skyline Realty Group, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Also a peak performance graduate, also delivery connoisseur.
I like to call it a logistics specialist.
That's what they called it in the Navy. So now my PTSD is officially kicked in.
Sorry.
Nah, I'm just kidding. Logistics specialist is good though. Well, welcome. I know you've been here before, but we have some lost files, so we're reshooting. And who knows, maybe the story's slightly updated,
It is.
right?
It is definitely updated, yeah.
We were talking about some things before we hopped on here. So let's just start with telling people who you are, how long you've been in the industry, like how you found yourself with us or with Sebastian and the team. And I mean, even now, I guess we could get into peak performance. Have you anything you've implemented that you've seen change? I remember the day you put the key in the group and said, got a listing from cold calling.
Yes,
it's like, imagine that.
So Kristy Flynn, I have basically been a delivery driver most of my life. And I think probably in the last 2 years or so, I just I needed this shift. Like, you just reach a point in your life where you're just like, something's got to change. Something's got to be better than this. And so,
what's next?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. So I had a friend of mine reached out to me and he basically said, why don't you try and give real estate a try? And so I got my license. As soon as I came to Iron Valley, like I just knew that this was my place. This is where I needed to be, where I wanted to be. Then it all worked out. So sold my first house in July for a family member. And then
July 23.
July of 23,
okay.
Yeah. And then after cold calling some FSBOs, I got a listing in October, closed on that deal in November, and he's actually still a client of mine. He's an investor, and so we're currently looking for a house right now.
Nice.
Yeah, so I've got a client right now that I'm working with. We're set to close at the end of the month, but I'm back to work at my delivery job full time now, and so it's limiting what the amount of time that I can actually invest into real estate right now. But my goal this year is to be doing an open house, if not every single weekend, at least 3 weekends out of every month, just to try and bring clients in the door and to reach that goal of 10 sales by the end of the year.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And we just had some conversation about how to capitalize on that. Didn't we?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
A little bit of free game before we started shooting. But that's how you capitalize, because people get confused on the purpose of an open house. It's not to sell the house. It's not to just sit there and pass out cookies.
Right.
You should use that property, your let's call it your merchandise, right?
Yeah.
As leverage. Your company sign is in the yard. Tell the neighborhood the story, and you'll get listings from that.
Yeah, for sure.
And on an off chance that a buyer's out just looking at houses without an agent, you possibly could sell it or at least acquire a buyer client, right?
And that's what happened yesterday.
Imagine that.
That is what happened yesterday.
Oh, you did the open house at the Red Mill listing,
yeah.
right? Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, and you said that there was some traction there, so I know that you probably worked with Dalen and on that, and as soon as we put it on the market, we put it in the MLS to make sure that the listing was advertised in time, and obviously Red Mill's a great neighborhood, so people are missing the mark on that, and I think you're making the right move. And we list how many houses every day now, Iron Valley as a company, so just reach out to the people listing these homes. And
so I had flags flying on General Booth Boulevard, and that alone brought people down into that neighborhood. So,
I love it. Mm-hmm. I love it.
Yeah.
What'd the flag say?
It was just open house. Yeah, that's all. Pointing this direction.
Right, but General Booth's a main drag, right?
Got a lot of people coming down there. Yeah.
So
for sure.
Yeah, but that's great.
So one of the things that really kind of propelled me forward, and I just cannot believe that I haven't read this book.
Which one?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh, yes. Come on.
I was like, I mean, it kind of gives you the tools, or it gives you the ideas to think about money in a different way, to train your brain to start thinking in a different way.
Absolutely.
And like, that's what's happened recently. Like, I'm starting to think of, what money do I have that I can use to actually get into the game of buying houses,
make your money earn money.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's where this year I think is kind of leading me to. So
all right.
Yeah.
And also, something, if you want to take that a step further, you have a goal to do 10 deals this year, right?
Yeah.
I would say that's easily achievable with everything you got going on. And if you time block back in those cold calls, or that effort to prospect, or use everything that we just talked about before we hopped on here to really truly execute and leverage those open houses, you could triple that number.
Right.
So
if I triple that number, I don't have to be a delivery driver anymore.
and here we go to living your peak life, right?
That's right.
Like that's the whole
right.
goal here is, if you don't want to be a delivery driver anymore, let's get you there.
Yeah.
But we got to execute the game plan, right?
Yeah.
And a huge part of that game plan is accountability, which we also just talked about. You said, should I get a coach? And I said, absolutely.
Yes.
Shout out to Coach Michael Burt. That's one of my coaches. And what he says is not what he says, what he believes is that everyone needs a coach in life.
I feel like I might not have Michael Burt money right now.
That's okay. You don't have to have Michael Burt money because, well, actually, he's not even that expensive compared to other people in the realm, and he's phenomenal. But there's levels, right? Like, he offers courses that aren't even like a commitment, like a 12-month commitment or a monthly commitment. He does courses, or just little, not even just him, a lot of different people, where you can just pay for that one session, or maybe it's a much smaller fee monthly. He's got a plan that's like $97 a month. It's on a much smaller scale,
Okay.
Yeah. There's all kinds of different products, and he's not the only one. I just mentioned him because that is his thing. Like, he believes that everyone needs a coach in life.
Right.
And I couldn't agree more, because of the gap that I've closed just in the 3 months that I've been working with him. But the gap that I closed in the 9 months now that I've been coaching with Kathy Schweitzer at Glover U is insane. I started coaching with her. We didn't even have a training program at this company. Now we have a training program. It's licensed and backed by Glover U.
Yeah.
And Iron Valley across the country, corporates allowing us to train and disseminate that product to them as well.
So I joined Iron Valley in April of 23. It hasn't even been a full year yet. And just, I mean, how far this company has kind of propelled forward, it's mind-blowing.
It's
it really
wild, right?
is. Yeah.
So, but that's what you want, and that's what you need. That's why I answered your question the way I did. Absolutely hire a coach.
Okay.
On any level. It doesn't matter, because they're going to be unbiased. They're going to give you their honest opinion, and they're going to give you constructive criticism to move forward.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter how much coaching you get or how much accountability anybody has for you if you don't have it for yourself. So, you have to commit as well for it to work.
Right. Yeah.
And you have to let people hold you accountable. Like, if either one of my coaches were to say to me, "You're the problem right now, what are you doing?" I would fix myself.
Yeah.
Just because everything that I've done that they told me to do has worked, you can't begin to disregard it because you feel confident, or people start getting arrogant and they know everything. No, we don't know what we don't know. You know what I mean?
I struggle with organization and direction is what I struggle with.
Yep.
And so, like, I have all these great ideas, but organizing all of those ideas and actually tackling those ideas is.
So imagine this: once a week, you get a call, whether it's 30 minutes, an hour, and that person not only has been where you are, but gives you the game plan floor to execute.
Okay. That's what I need.
That is the beauty of a coach, right?
Yeah.
So, for instance, we'll go with Kathy on this side. I run a company that tripled in size last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
I needed guidance on how to handle that moving forward. I've never done it. She has.
Perfect. That's a perfect example right there.
Yes, 100%. Then you take it to the Coach Bird side. I already talk in front of crowds and train in front of crowds, so why not get certified as a speaker and a coach and do public engagements and things like that, right? He already does that for a living. I had aspirations to press and publish a book and disseminate it. He's a 19-time or 20-time now, I think, published author.
Mm-hmm.
where else would I go to do that?
Right.
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 So, and again, both of those relationships close gaps and already show results. So, yes, that's the answer. Get a coach on whatever level you need it,
Okay.
Just be invested in it, not just financially. You know what I mean?
Right. Actually invest the work in it as well.
100%. And there's levels. I mean, some people pay $500 a month for coaching. Some people pay $1,500 a month for coaching. Some people pay $10,000 a month for coaching. Some people spend 50, 60, $100,000 a year on coaching. Like, it's just, it's addicting though, because once you get your foot in the door and once you see results and you're building relationships and everything that you're implementing is working, it's just like, okay, what's next? Oh, this is cool. What's next? Oh, this is cool. What's next? Because there really is no ceiling. It's just what we believe we can do.
Right.
That's what is possible.
Okay.
But somebody's got to hold your feet to the fire every now and then. There's still days I don't want to do shit. I know people probably don't believe that, but there are.
You seem so motivated. Your day-to-day life.
But that's the thing is, I'm more disciplined than I am motivated. Okay. There are times where I'm not motivated that you all are reading or watching a video where you might think I'm motivated. That's where discipline comes in.
Okay.
Sometimes I got to do things I don't feel like doing, and I have to act like I like it. Like, that's the Mike Tyson definition of discipline, you know, which is crazy. Mike Tyson is boxing Jake Paul. I don't know if anybody's seen that on the internet.
I was actually just reading some stats about it this morning.
I got to tell you, I saw Mike Tyson shadow box in mid-50s. He still looks dangerous. So I don't know. I don't know if it's just a payday situation, but
I thought it was going to be like a charity fight or something.
But in real life, I secretly want Mike Tyson to not go out like that.
Yeah.
Like, such a legend in the sport. I hope it's an actual fight. I'll say that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just seems like a payday.
Yeah.
Which I'm not hating on. I appreciate paydays. But it's crazy.
I was just thinking about something. One of the other things that I struggle with, I don't know. It'll come back. It'll come back to me.
That's all right.
About real estate. Oh no. So I've got a couple things, down the pipeline. That's the thing that I struggle with is like sometimes. I oftentimes feel like I'm being a burden on like the people that I'm continuing to follow up with. Like I've got these this one couple clients that it's a VA loan. I think the guy is like trying to get his disability, and I guess that will increase the amount of
his monthly income, which will increase his buying power. Absolutely.
Right. And so, we've reached out to them a couple times with no response. Like, how many times do you just continue to reach out to somebody until they tell you to stop? Okay.
Really? Because people have lives too. Maybe it's not a priority for them right now, and that's okay. But you know that ownership is a cornerstone of wealth, right? You know that this person has a benefit that they've earned serving their country, and they should capitalize on it. So really, you're not a burden. You're trying to help them.
Okay.
Right?
But,
like that.
I mean, but
that's how I think about it.
But if they don't think they're being helped, though,
that's on them.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. But have they said no? Have they said leave me alone?
They haven't said leave me alone. But they've given me I'll reach out to you when I'm ready.
Right. So now you have to reallocate your time. They're no longer a priority to you.
I got you. Okay.
Upon that response, because here's the deal. If it's not a priority to them, it should not be a priority to you.
Got you. Okay. All right. I like that.
And then you don't have to worry about being a burden on somebody. If it is not a priority for them, it should not be a priority for you. Because you know who's not going to write an offer, ratify a deal, go through a transaction, and buy a house? Someone who's not ready.
Okay. Okay, for sure.
And to that fact, you could even flip it to like Commonwealth of Virginia law. A buyer is supposed to be ready, willing, and able. So I wouldn't even be wasting my time showing them houses anyway. Okay. Because you've already displayed to me that you're not ready, willing, or able to do so.
Okay. All right.
Free game on Sunday.
That's yeah.
That's why they come to Iron Valley and come to Peak Performance Training.
That's some information
they got a little
that you
glimpse,
can use,
right?
Definitely.
Because I have a few different modes, right? I have principal broker mode, I have realtor mode, then I have like Peak Performance instructor mode. Mm-hmm. But they're all Mike. You just get a different flavor in each, like whatever hat I'm wearing.
Yeah.
Obviously, if I'm selling a house and representing a buyer or representing the seller, you're getting a different form.
Yeah.
If I'm addressing the firm or addressing a training classroom, you're getting a different person, right? Because it's a different environment. But the podcast is always fun because you can kind of let loose and laugh and have fun, and it's just a good time. It doesn't feel like work.
Let's talk organization, because you have so many things about, there's so many facets about your career, your personal life. How do you keep all of that organized?
The truth is, it's not organized at all.
But it's organized to a point where you can focus on
chaos,
tasks.
okay?
Okay, I got
so I actually, probably from my 14 years in the Navy, have an elite managerial prioritization skill set. Like, I know when something needs to be the top of the burner pile. You know what I mean? Like, I just know what needs to be executed, what's most important. But I know those things through experience and mistakes. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. If we're talking about leadership, if we're talking about a real estate transaction, if we're talking about company success, I have a level of experience because of how certain things transpired that I can I have a solution. I'm a problem solver. I'm a fixer. I have an answer. I don't think about obstacles like other people do. Well, yeah, that's fine, but how are we going to fix it?
Right.
That's how my brain works. I have a solution-based mindset, and I just know, for me, priorities, like, say, from the company level, bills got to be paid, staff has to be paid, and taxes have to be paid. People probably don't think about it down to that level, but to me, every day, that's actually the most important thing on my plate. Are the bills paid? Is the staff paid? Are my agents taken care of? So for me, my day, I take care of myself in the morning before I get here, right? Because once I get here, it's all company business. But once company business is done, I'm back to personal business. And then after that, it's family business.
Right.
It's how my day rolls every single day. And I stick to that routine. And that is how it continues to move forward.
So that solution-based mindset, like I see a lot more of that at the level of being in real estate, versus people that I deal with in like the delivery business. Like it's almost as if people see a problem and they just continue to just work with that problem as opposed to fix that problem and make it a little bit more easier. Like
that's a mindset thing. And your mindset a lot of times is determined by your environment.
Okay.
So if that environment is that mindset, it's going to breed that in other people. And then it's just kind of, that becomes the culture of that place.
Okay.
Whereas here, we're of such an abundant, like, we can do this, we can crush it, we can kill it. Where the people that change their mindset and grab onto that, you watch them go skyrocket, right?
I got you.
The people that don't want to be held accountable or don't want to be held responsible or don't want to look themselves in the mirror and take some self-accountability for their actions or lack thereof, those are the people that, don't stick around or get out of the business altogether, and that's fine.
Okay.
You got to find your tribe. To me, it just sounds like
I found it.
Here, but we got to make this career so successful that you can get away from what is potentially holding you back,
For sure.
or not even holding you back, just making you unhappy, right? Like you want to do what makes you happy and live your peak life and reach your peak and climb higher and all these things that I say, they're real things. Like you want to get in a point in this industry where you're comfortable to let that other thing go. And then you can just live fully in your purpose and be happy, right?
Yeah,
that's the whole. That's the whole idea. But the organization is, a lot of it probably comes from the military, but the other piece is just, I don't want to let people down. Like that's granular. Like the 200 we're creeping on 300 real quick between agents and staff at all 6 franchises. So
I was wondering where we were.
So it's just, all of those people believe in us, our firm, the brand, but ultimately, like, they believe in the people that are behind it. So for me, I can't fail. It's just not an option.
Which, by the way, I got a lead yesterday on somebody wanted to come to the agency. So.
Oh, well, set it up. We're here. But it's also a combination of things like, shout out to Eric Edwards, right? Original co-founder of the company with me. You saw we recently put together like this leadership corner office over here.
Yeah.
And that was just to bring the leadership back to a united front and have multiple days a week together where we're really plotting and planning and on the same page. And as a result of that, you see myself, Edwin, and Eric are certified instructors now.
I saw that.
Through
Yeah.
Glover U,
Congratulations.
not just me, right? They really stepped up to the plate and did a lot of training and came in and worked weekends and taught classes and gave their knowledge to the company and the agents from other companies that came as well.
Are you doing weekend courses anymore, or just the weekday?
The next one's going to be during the week. We played with like a weekend, 2 days a week for a couple weeks, and then now we're doing we want to see how it works in 1 week.
I gotcha.
But still gapped out with homework and intentional, like just to see the results, or maybe just play with the content, see what we can break down. Maybe there's certain things we can offer in 1 day sessions, certain things we can offer in 1 week sessions. But just kind of playing with it to see what's best, because this summer we're going to roll it out to Iron Valley throughout the country.
Gotcha.
So,
okay.
but we spent a whole day the other day, myself, Eric, and Edwin with Jeff Glover, going through all of the content. All 200 and some odd pages of his, all 100 and some odd pages of ours, determining what the final product's going to be. And I think it's going to be really good. Okay. I mean, I don't see how it couldn't be. Edwin's got over 20 years of experience. Eric obviously has been top producing since he came in real estate and has built all of this with me alongside. And obviously now Edwin's an owner. And but he went through being a top producer. He went through being a team lead. He went through being, getting his broker's license. And now they're in the position to give that back to the people when they should. And it's cool to see it happen.
Now that finalized product, are you gonna like let the past peak performers access it?
Yeah, just not for free. Because that's the other thing too, building the relationships nationwide, being in certain rooms with certain people. It's just kind of like a level up season for everybody here. Just grab a hold, hang on.
Yeah.
We're just going to keep going.
Yeah.
But that also is just to make everything better. I have more fun doing the training class and teaching people how to sell houses than I actually have like selling houses. Mm-hmm. Because it took me a long time to figure out how to do 50, 60, 70 deals a year, 15 to 20 million consistently. But once I figured that out and then went to the next level of I can do that passively and still truly train, teach other people how to do that. When I started seeing, the LJs and the Bartletts and the Dalens and the Lauren Perez's and just all these people that I've had a direct hand in, like taking their careers to the next level. It's like, man, I can just do this for everybody. It's what I'm doing already. It's what I do every day.
Right.
So I kind of feel like that was my actual calling, is to impact other people's lives in a positive fashion, because everything that I went through to be in a position to do that, I've learned through these conferences and these coaches and just being a student of the game. Like, hold on, I'm actually qualified to go do that.
So
that's a recent realization of, look at my 20-year history of leading other people to success.
Yeah. So I'm definitely like, I kind of can't believe like where the company is now versus where it was when I first started. And I'm impressed. I'm
Well,
definitely, I mean,
but that's a result of teamwork too.
And I also know that I'm in the right spot too.
Yeah.
And
but
so
it's
that's
not just
important.
me. It's Lori and Edwin and Eric and Edgar and Andy and Beth and Lakeisha and Keone and Jama and everybody buying in and believing and getting up and working hard every day and believing in each other. Like, it's not just me. Eric brought this Motion app to the table where now all the company leadership has interchangeable levels of where, like, we just can now see everything that's happening and who's on the schedule for what and who's busy that day. And just something that simple can change how we're communicating, which changes the effectiveness of results, right? simple stuff. I mean, you look at Edwin and Edgar, they brought a whole different dynamic to the company completely, just as who they are and where they come from and their different circles and networks. And man, I mean, if you need anything done to a house, those guys have the plug. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know it too. Yeah.
And then look at everybody that branched off from them. Look at Jama and Kat down in North Carolina killing it. Look, they were on Edgar's team.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Look at John and Maureen Montalegre running a team over here killing it. They came off the home matchmaker team.
Okay.
Look at Breon and Dion over here killing it. They came off the home matchmaker team. Look at, you know what I mean? Like I could keep, it continues to trickle down. You know, Eric signed Sebastian to this company. Now Sebastian runs a successful team, right?
Yeah.
So it's a conglomerate of just everybody helping each other and coming to work every day, showing up, believing. That's probably the thing I'm most thankful for. Like damn, all these people believe in me. That's cool.
Yeah.
But then you get imposter syndrome. Sometimes you'd be like, why? Like people have to remind me, like my wife or close friends are like, Mike, you're not normal, dude. I'm like, what? I'm like, what? I'm like, I am. I truly feel like, you know, I'm just a regular guy that works hard. Anyone else?
But you're so laser focused on your goals too.
Yeah.
And you know how to get those goals accomplished.
Yeah, the execution piece is there, but it still just comes down to, is it the best decision for everybody around me? Mm-hmm. Is everyone going to benefit? Is everyone going to win? You know, because I told you,
if everyone wins, you win as well.
Correct.
I mean,
That's the secret to success and leadership.
Yeah.
And I kind of always knew that from the military. Like from the time I was at E5 to when I made chief in the Navy, it was like a progression of, once I understood that what I did didn't matter anymore, it was the results of the people around me that would determine my caliber of leadership ability. I carried that throughout the business as well.
Okay.
Like that's where the leadership by example comes from.
When did you retire?
I didn't retire. I separated in 2019.
Okay. All right.
But I use all those same principles to run and build the business. But where I took, I guess you could say, that quantum leap was hiring Kathy, hiring Coach Burt, really buckling down on my personal development has given me the ability to continue to grow and embrace Eric and Edwin and Edgar and Andy and Lori and learning how to create harmony, I guess you would say. Like, damn, Eric, that's actually a great idea, man. I'll embrace that and I'll try that. But also on the flip side of that, oh, Mike's coaching now. Like all of these guys, even like Edgar the other day, is like, well, what'd your coach say? So it's like they're embracing it too. So I can't even I can't even accept all of the responsibility for the win because they're involved. Like,
right.
You know, Edwin to a point where like he's in a class with me right now, a 16-week course. It just so happens that my coach is teaching that course, but they've bought into like, it's just a growth mindset. Everybody around us.
Right.
You know, when we made a decision to say, well, Lori's not a lead admin anymore. She's the director of operations. Beth isn't the admin at Chesapeake anymore. She's the lead admin for the company.
But I feel like most people in this industry have that growth mindset though. Am I wrong? Okay, maybe not most people.
I don't know. I don't know because I'm so focused on what we're doing and where we are and who we're surrounded by that I don't even care what other places' mindsets are. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like,
what about just within this brokerage?
Yes, 100%. But I also know that starts at the top.
Yeah. Okay.
Because shit rolls downhill.
Right.
And I'd rather
it's a trickle down mindset.
I would rather roll success breeding habits downhill. I would rather roll financial education downhill.
Right.
I would rather roll self-accountability downhill versus bullshit and problems, you know?
Right.
So it really starts at the top. Like I said, these guys buying into everything that's happening now. Edgar and Edwin came to Phoenix and went to the summit, and Eric is now a certified instructor and was on he's in here getting trained with Jeff Glover. And
How did he do that? Because he told me from the get-go he does not like standing up in front of people.
Because that's the thing. Because he's surrounded by people that support him. Okay. When the guys sitting next to you are like, dude, they need to hear from you. You're good at what you do. They want to hear from you. When we encourage it, also, he's applied himself and said, you know what, I'm going to step into this because I am worthy. I am an elite salesperson. I do own a real estate firm where we've signed almost 300 people and have 70 top producers. Right. You know what I mean? Like it's just affirmation from the people around you, I think, which that's the specialty here, right? Yeah. Everybody's going to have a bad day. Everybody's going to doubt themselves. But if you got somebody next to you that's going to pick you up, you can't lose. Look at this morning. We showed up here. You thought we forgot. I'm like, nah, we're good. I pull up, right?
Where y'all at?
I pull up, right? I'm on time. And then we get here and Edgar's like, oh, well, Cookie's had Newport News and I got the kids. And I'm like, well, I'll try. But, you know, what'd he do? He hopped in his car. He came here. He set us up. That's support. That's why it works, right?
Yeah.
He could have just brushed it off and both of us drive 30, 40 minutes back home. But no, he's like, nah, I'll come help you out real quick. Cool. We're set up. Like, that's the support. It's a family level support.
And we had some really good conversations too before we hopped on there because I needed that information this morning. I really did.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I had no fucking clue.
Right. So but that's how you win. It's who you're around. It's the mindset of the people. You will become what you take in. That's real. Yeah. People become products of their environment. Very few people can be in an environment and not naturally adapt to what's around them.
Yeah. One thing I've always been thankful for at Iron Valley is the fact that I have direct access to you, and I have direct access to Andy and Edgar and Edwin and Eric and.
At certain levels, right? Yeah. Right. Like, because some people be wild, like you're supposed to just run their whole career for them.
Right.
You know, it comes a point where you learn as a leader who's actually going to invest the time and effort in themselves. Right. I can identify that pretty quick. So that will probably determine the level of urgency in which I treat our relationship as how invested are you?
Yeah, for sure.
Know, and do you support us? Like, you know, we out here busting our ass for people every day, and a lot of people take it for granted. So if you take me for granted or think that I'm on your time and you're like consistently disrespectful or think that you're the most important thing, like I don't do well with those kinds of people because it's disrespectful.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
If something is so important, what were you doing the last week, the last month, the last 2 months, the last year? Because that's the thing in real estate. People pop out of the woodwork like, oh, I got this issue, or oh, I didn't do this, or oh, I need money for that. Like, listen, where have you been? We come to work every single day. We do. If you come around once or twice every couple of months and think that whatever you got going on is more important than the other 280 people, that's crazy. Like, we don't owe you that. If you were here, if you came to training, if you ever logged in and looked at the Facebook group, if you ever took heed to any emails that you've received, like people will be like completely out of touch and then blame you.
Yeah.
And that is insane to me.
So I get it. I mean, I'm one of those people who works 60 to 65 hours a week right now and trying to juggle the
but you still were cognizant enough to like check your messages and reply, and
people don't do that.
Yes, people don't do that.
God, man.
Yes, people don't do that. It's absolutely crazy. That people just are out of touch with reality sometimes, and they want to blame everybody else. You have to have some type of self-accountability, self-respect.
Yeah.
If not, because you're not going to make it. You got like, this isn't for everyone.
They don't want it bad enough, I guess.
That, or maybe this just isn't for you. That's okay too. Like I have no qualms with somebody that says, you know what, that's just really not for me. Because it takes certain things to be successful in this industry that most people never thought would even be part of the job.
So here's one thing that I realized probably within the last 5 or 6 months is that getting into real estate, getting into, getting your salesperson license and trying to sell homes, like real estate is not just that.
Correct.
Real estate is an entire, just world of opportunity.
It's also, in my opinion, if you're going to be successful in it, it's a lifestyle. It's a way of life.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could go on Facebook right now and look at my banner on my cover photo. I do not just sell houses. We change lives.
Mm-hmm.
We have the power to change lives because in real estate, you have the ability to make life-changing income.
Right.
And if you can spread that around, it becomes a culture of success. And a culture of success is going to impact the community, children, the lives of spouses and family members, right? It's I just want to have a positive impact on the largest scale possible.
Yeah.
That's it.
You're
Whatever, but like whatever that means for you, that doesn't mean you have to be a millionaire. That doesn't mean you have to sell 100 houses. That doesn't mean if you can craft a plan of goals and execute that plan and achieve those goals on whatever level that is for you, because everybody's sauce for success is different, right? Everybody's definition of success is different. So that's why it's your peak life. It's not Mike's peak life. It's not, anybody that I've mentioned today's. It's yours. What's that look like for you? And you make that plan. All I know is that I know how to help people execute that plan. I know how to help people believe in themselves.
Right. Yeah.
Because to me, that's probably the number one ingredient. People lack self-confidence or belief in the fact that they can achieve something.
Yeah. I seek validation all the time.
And but I read something this morning. I got to shout out Michael Bird again because but I don't want to steal nothing from nobody. I take credit for like the stuff I come up with on my own. Mm-hmm. But when you read something from somebody and it's just like, damn. He said that confidence is the memory of success. Yeah, right? It's like, yo, that's fire. So thanks, Coach Michael Burt, again, which I'll be in Nashville next week getting certified by him, by the way. He also already put me in touch with marketing and publishing companies that are going to help me put books out. That's what I mean by closing the gap. I've been working with him for 3 months. This is where we're at. Like, this is ridiculous, right? So worth every penny that I've spent because the relationship is priceless.
Okay.
But I saw that this morning on the way in here, and I was just like, that is so right. Because some people might think, oh, he's cocky, he's arrogant. Mm-hmm. And no, I'm extremely confident because of what I've already accomplished.
Yeah.
You can't tell me not to believe in myself or that I'm crazy because every time I said I was going to do or we were going to do or, we're going to do this or we're going to do that as a group, as an individual, whatever it is, quite frankly, I've done it.
Yeah.
We've done it. We said we wanted to open 3 stores last year. We did it. We said we wanted to sign 100 agents last year. We signed 178.
Yeah.
We said we wanted to do $500 million in sales. We did almost 600 million, and we're already on pace this year to double last year.
Wow.
So don't tell me that you can't do something. I don't want to hear about the interest rates. I don't want to hear about bad news. I don't want to hear about, my personal life, this, that. Like, you have to be able to go through adversity and continue to propel yourself forward.
Right.
We did all that last year.
Even though people are saying you can't.
Which is also the same year that I go bury my father from a heroin overdose.
Right.
It's also the same year that I tear my labrum. It's also the same year that I had to coordinate and put on and host my personal, greatest day of my life, my wedding, right? So I think that's the piece where people are like, oh, how does he do it? Or how does anybody do it, right? Because I'm not the only person succeeding at a high level in what I would consider all facets. My relationships with my kids is better than it's ever been. My relationship with my spouse is the best relationship I've ever been in. The company is in a great position. My personal business is in a great position. That is only because I've spent my entire career pouring into other people.
Right.
I've never not once said, oh, you shouldn't do this. It's a tough racket. No, here's the playbook. But I know that most people won't do the work it takes to run the play. And that's okay. That's not on me. If I've attempted, if I've been open arms and here it is, cool. But I also had to learn to stop doing everything for free. Stop giving everything away because you have to come to a point where you're like, I am qualified. I've earned it. Mm-hmm. And that's why that quote this morning really, really stuck with me. I just read that today, this morning. I was like, wow, that's so right.
Confidence is the memory of success. I'm gonna write that down.
Because who's to tell you don't have a right to be confident if you've continually over and over and over and over delivered?
Yeah.
For everyone and everything in your life. That's not arrogance. That's not cockiness.
You've shown it's possible.
Confidence is the memory of success. And I'm going to see it just because of my relationship with Coach Burt and being coached by him. I happened to see that this morning in my news feed. And now it's stuck in my head. I can't get rid of it because I'm the kind of person where my whole life in the military, in real estate, even where I am now, in this real estate world where people would say, oh, he's cocky, he's arrogant, he's a prick, I don't like him because whatever reason they made up in their head. Like, no, man, when you do so many things so many times and you help so many people get to certain places in life, it's okay for me to say I'm qualified. If you're mad about that, that's on you.
Yeah.
That's your fault. I have gotten up and come to work every day for a very long time. Very long time. Like people come in real estate, 6 months, 9 months, I haven't sold a house. It's a tough racket. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, bro.
Are you putting in
what? Are you serious? Or you just quit then? Because it's not easy.
It's not.
It's not. But I did it for a decade while serving full-time active duty Navy. That's why now when people see what's happening, they're like, oh, what the? Well, the foundation was actually set 14 years ago, not 4 years ago when I got out of the military.
Yeah.
But almost 5 years ago now. 5 years ago now when I got out of the Navy, I knew what I was going to do. I already had proof of concept. I was doing it successfully part-time for a decade. Of course I could do it full-time.
Right.
But now I don't have duty. I don't have deployment. I have all my time back. I don't answer to anybody. So I
can't wait for that day.
But I couldn't either, but it took a decision. I made a decision to walk away from the Navy.
Yeah.
I made a decision to quit college and do real estate full time. I made a decision to open a company. These are all decisions.
Yeah.
They're all risks. And that's why I'm saying, like, when you get rid of the imposter syndrome and when you look at and this is why the coaching's been incredible. I learned things like demonstrated capacity. What is your demonstrated capacity? What have you proven over and over again that you can do? And in my head, I'm like, well, I've opened several offices. Clearly, I can do that. I've trained a bunch of top producers. Clearly, I can do that. I've sold hundreds and brokered thousands of real estate transactions. Clearly, I'm good at that. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
So now, how are you not qualified to show other people how to do it?
So
you are.
You posted something the other day, I think on Facebook, something about risk. If you don't take risk, you're not going to.
You'll work for somebody else. You'll work for somebody who did.
Yeah.
If you don't take risks, you'll work for somebody who did.
Yeah.
And that's 100% fact because every small business owner and every Fortune 500 company, every top company in the world, somebody took a risk. Somebody had an idea. Somebody put it all on the line.
Yeah.
That's what Eric and I did when we chose to leave the military after 14 years and open a real estate firm.
Yeah.
During a pandemic, nonetheless. That's why our core values are comprised of things like integrity, independence, fearlessness, humility. Like we live, eat, and breathe those. That's a real thing. If you looked on my back right now, it's tattooed on my body, loyalty, trust, and respect. I really feel that way. That's in line with my company core values. It's in line with my military service. It's in line with how I treat people. That's it.
Yeah. So that whole thing about risk, I'm, I told you earlier that I want to try and jump in the game of flipping houses, and I don't know. To me, it seems like a bit of a risk.
It's because it is.
Yeah.
But getting in a car and driving here 45 minutes today was a risk.
Yeah.
That's really how I think about it. Like, define risk.
That's a risk I do every single day that I'm a little bit more comfortable with.
That's what I'm saying. Like, define risk. Everything's a risk, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But what's the level of risk? Right?
Yeah.
In the military, we call it operational risk management. Out in the real world, they actually have people called actuaries, Acuity, who do risk assessments. Mm-hmm. One of my good friends owns a company, Tim Lewis. Shout out to Tim Lewis. That's what they do is assess risk, and mitigate it, right? Mm-hmm. So is the risk so great that you can't make it through it?
No, I can definitely do it.
You see what I'm saying?
I just need a little bit more information.
But
that's all.
maybe it's just temporary pain.
Yeah.
Can you deal with a little bit of pain to have a lot of pleasure down the road?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, and sometimes for some people, it just takes putting your back against the wall. Because when I got out of the Navy, I signed up for school, was getting my BAH, a lot of people would be happy with that. Somebody like me is sitting in class and I'm like, I wonder what I could accomplish during this 6 hours. You know what I mean? So I made a conscious decision to say, you know what? I'm going to quit school, which meant I would lose my housing allowance from my VA benefits. I'm going to do real estate full time with no other job while going through a divorce and forfeiting a potential pension that I could have in just 6 years. I left the Navy at year 14. I didn't have to leave.
Wow.
I won my admin separation board. I have documents from the United States government that state they violated my constitutional rights with no preponderance of evidence. Oh, by the way. So I didn't have to go home. I chose to leave because of how I was treated and how things went, and responses to certain things from certain people. So I made a decision. I read books that made me make a decision, like it's time to go home. It is time to go home. And then when I got home, I made a decision to quit school and put it all on the line, meaning I would only have income when I closed the deal. I didn't have any disability from the VA at that point. I was paying child support. I was going through a divorce and a custody battle. Back against the wall. That's what propelled 2020, 2021, 2022, where it's like 2020, what I do, I don't even know. Those 2 years, Eric and I, the first 2 years of this company, we both were 60, 70 plus units, 20 million a piece. Like the building years, the first 2 years at this firm, he and I were the firm. We were the reason recruits were coming. We were the reason people wanted to learn what we were doing because we made a splash. But that's because we had nothing else. This was it.
Yeah.
This was it. Like when we chose to leave the Navy and I chose to stop going to school and we chose to do this, it was all or nothing. I really, really believe that's why it's been successful.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's like,
God, you made me want to quit today.
but the thing is, I had things that were like, if you don't pay child support, you go to jail.
Yeah.
If you don't pay taxes, you go to jail. Right? So it's like, at some point, you just got to do what you got to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I fought with that. I wanted to get out of the Navy when I was on shore duty back at 2010 or 11. No, 2012. Somewhere in there, I was talking about getting out. In my previous relationship, in my previous home life, I made a decision to re-enlist. And in the Navy, you can't tell people you want to leave. You can't talk shit about the establishment, but then rep it. You know what I mean? So I stayed true to doing my job and leading people, and I was very good at that. But I wasn't happy. I'm like, man, I'm never home. I don't see my kids. This clearly has contributed to a divorce. You know what I mean? I wanted to be able to determine my own destiny. And when I identified that was my why, that's when I decided to leave. That took me 10 years of battling with myself.
Okay.
Right? So that's another thing too people don't think about, but I did this part-time for 10 years while on active duty military service. There were years where I made more money in real estate than I made from the Navy, and I continued to serve in the military. Why would anyone do that aside from doubt or fear or risk? See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm only telling people to do what I took so long to do.
Yeah.
I tell people to do it because I learned my lesson. And that's what coaching is all about. You ask, should you get a coach? Absolutely. Because you want to close the gap. You don't know what you don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what I don't know. That's why when we got to a certain point here, I was like, I need to find guidance outside of this market for us to continue to go where we want to go. Right. And again, my partners in the leadership team have embraced that. That's the only reason it's working.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter if you don't implement, but you can't implement if you don't have support. So I didn't go full time because I didn't have full time support at home. Somebody that's not going to complain every time you got to go to work. Somebody that's not going to doubt you. Like, oh, how can you do that? How are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? I don't think like that. My mind doesn't work like that. My mind works like, I'm going to kill this shit. Whatever I am doing, it's going to be done. Don't you worry.
I've got the support at home. I've definitely got that.
So then it's just a matter of, can I get out of my own way? You know, or and it could be a plethora of things. I mean, if it's a financial piece, do a plan where you got enough reserve put away to walk away comfortably and move on. If that's not it, then it's just emotional.
It's not emotional.
It's a mental. Okay, got it. Understood. But even that, let that be a driving force. If you do 10 deals this year, how much money is that put in a savings account? If you go do a HELOC or that cash out refi and use an asset that you already own, like we discussed earlier, how's that change your life? What kind of positions does that put you in?
That's where I'm moving next. So, yeah.
Speaking of next, what's the next 5 years look like?
Oh, what's the next 5 years look like for me? I'm definitely getting out of the. I shouldn't say I'm definitely getting out of it. I will definitely decrease the amount of time that I'll be working with the delivery business this year. I'm looking towards the end of the year on working that out. So next 5 years, setting up my own business. I don't know how you say it. Like, if you have a team, within Iron Valley, that's a business, right?
Yeah, it's a small business.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So setting up my own business and actually having people work under me, to just kind of like you do, where you can delegate that work, so you're just bringing in commissions, and you really don't have to do a lot of the work.
I mean, the income gets decreased, but my time gets increased.
Right.
And my time's more valuable than the income.
Yeah.
Because that time allows me to go get other sources of income.
Right.
Or knowledge that I bring back to everybody, which allows everybody to get more income, right?
Right.
So it's just it's a trickle effect. And all of those people, they eventually get self-sufficient and they become independent. You know what I mean? So that's what I tell people when they start teams. You do know everybody's not going to stay with you, right? You do know that a team is a stepping stone, right?
Yeah.
Like team leads tend to get confused. Those people are coming to you because they need help right now.
Right. Yeah.
But
For sure.
when they grow to a certain point, that's the whole point of being a leader, is you want the people to outgrow you. You want the people to go be successful, because their success is ultimately, that's the measure of yours.
Yeah.
Like, that's the mark that people make. Like, they miss the purpose behind what they're doing. It should really be the people. That's the hack.
Right.
That's the secret. People are like, what's the secret? Just be a good person. Be fair. Don't be full of shit. Don't lie to people to get what you want. It's called manipulation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but those are all life lessons. Just people don't come pre-wired that way. You got to figure this shit out.
Yeah.
But that's a good 5-year plan. I mean, and it's very achievable. You're surrounded by people that are doing it or have done it, right? So,
and surround yourself with the people that that you can learn from, that you want to be like too.
For sure. So your peak life, really 5-year plan would be, I'm out of the delivery business. I'm running a successful real estate team. I have the time and ability to do what I want, when I want, with who I want.
Yes.
Freedom.
The time.
Right?
Yeah. That time is important.
Well, what we kind of implemented on recent interviews, we sit here and we ask people questions all the time. So at the end of every interview, we've been giving people the opportunity. If you had one question for me that maybe you haven't asked, or you've been thinking about asking, or maybe somebody watching would ask, what would it be?
We covered those questions before.
Okay.
Those are those questions
we did
I
that
had
earlier.
for you.
That's fine.
Oh, man.
If we covered it already, it's fine.
Yeah, no,
I put you on the spot for one more.
Well, we talked about your leadership too. We talked about that whole trickle down effect of how you want people to be, people under you to be just as good or better than you. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, if somebody fails, I feel like that's a direct reflection of your leadership.
Yeah, for sure. Or their lack of
but
effort too.
That was also driven into my head from the Navy. What I've learned outside of the military in leadership is sometimes it's out of your control, man. Like there are some people that just will never do what's required.
Yeah.
And that is not your fault. What the Navy specifically would teach is the actions of all your subordinates are a direct reflection of your leadership. Everything they do is your fault, on and off duty. Like, no, it's not, dude. Mm-hmm. You cannot make somebody do something that they are not willing to do. You can't. If you're not willing to get up and prospect every day, I can't teach you how to sell 100 houses a year.
Yeah.
Because you're not doing the work.
Yeah.
If you're not willing to get up and recruit every day, I can't teach you how to sign 300 agents to a company because you're not doing the work.
Yeah.
So, like, from the military to this side, the military teaches you that it's all the leader's fault. It's only all the leader's fault if the person under you has actually accepted and applied.
Right.
And that's a distinction I had to make from military leadership to sales and business leadership, is that not everybody's cut out for this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, in the military, it's easy to look at somebody and point and say, go do that, and they have to go do that, because if not, there's certain repercussions.
Right.
In this world, nobody has to do anything. They don't. Everybody's an independent contractor.
You don't get a paycheck, though.
But that's your repercussion, not mine.
Exactly.
Because I'm going to get up and come to work every day. You see what I mean? So it's just it's a different environment to lead in, and you have to have a slightly different mindset. So structure and standard operating procedures work, but you have to be very versatile in how you talk to and lead and treat each individual person, because everybody is different. That's what I had to learn and had to self-teach. Was in the Navy, everybody's a sailor. Out here, everybody's an independent person. Mm-hmm. So it is different, but it is the same, because if you're surrounded by people that you generally aspire to be like, or that inspire you to be better, you can learn from those actions. And really, that's the culture of, like, the Navy creates sailors, we create Iron Valley agents, right? Like, because I don't think we're like any other company or any other agents in the marketplace.
Right.
So it's just you have to be specific on who and what you're dealing with here versus there. Everybody has the same instructions. Everybody has the same guidance. Everybody has the same standard. Here, everybody's molding that standard to their life and their expectations and their dreams and their goals. So it's not so institutionalized. There's a lot of freedom in being an entrepreneur and being in real estate.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's different. And I've had to learn and grow in the transition from leading people in the military to leading people out here. Mm-hmm. It's been fun though. Like, sometimes I want to pull my hair out, but not all the time. It's still better than being on deployment or having duty, or, you know, listening to somebody bark orders at you when they're not even qualified to do what they're telling you to do, which is a lot of what happens in the military. You know, oh, you passed a test, now you're a leader? No. Mm-hmm. And that's why I like continuing to self-educate and learn things, and something like a demonstrated capacity. That's a great term. You should not lead people in something you don't have a demonstrated capacity in. How are you going to teach somebody to sell houses? You ain't never really sold houses. How are you going to teach somebody to time block? You don't even stick to your own schedule.
You can't do that.
Right? Yeah. So that's where it's different. And I think leading by example in the sales realm is super important, because it lets people know that it's possible. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah.
That's why I tell people, listen, if I could do this, I promise you could do it too. You just have to do what's necessary, which isn't everything. There's a lot of different stuff you can do. Kind of what I was meant by the military. Everybody has the same standards, the same instructions, the same guidance. In real estate, there's a million different ways, like kind of like you alluded to earlier, to earn income, to create that freedom, to be successful. So you don't have to just represent buyers. You don't have to just represent sellers. You can be just an investor. You can just flip houses. You can be a limited service agent where you just put stuff in MLS and you don't even represent people. Like, you could be a wholesaler. You could be, there's so many different ways. And that's why I say that the plan has to be tailored to what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
And everybody's different. Everybody's goals are different. Everybody's definition of success is different, which means that your leadership versatility and how you treat certain situations and different people all has to be different. Mm-hmm. But it's fun, you know, like I get more.
You make it look fun. So
Well, good. But I get more pride and joy and fulfillment out of watching other people win than I do from myself winning. If
And
that
that's
makes
why you
sense.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to continue that trend, and hopefully it just has a lasting impact. That's my peak life. Like, when I hope that when I leave, people will say, he changed my life. That's all I want.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, you've changed mine thus far.
Well, hopefully
It's going to change.
Hopefully in a positive
positive
fashion.
Yeah.
But that's really it, I think. It's been a good session, and hopefully somebody got something out of it, whether it's taking control of your own life or maybe coming and getting some of that training Kristy's put to use to get some of these clients and listings. And that's the thing too, like, just to tell the success story, like, because you support things. I don't know how to explain that, but like when you put in the group the picture of the key and said you got your listing from cold calling, from the stuff you learned in the class, for people like me and Eric and Andy and Edwin and Edgar and even Lori, Lori loves watching the agents win.
Yeah.
People don't even know. She lives for that. She loves it. That's where we win. When it's like, yes, we know it works. That's why we're teaching it. And it's great to see it impact your life, because that sale could be the beginning of something great, which actually you said it was. That person's still a client and buying another house.
He's an investor. Yep.
So that's cool. That means that one session and one class led to what would appear to be a lifetime business relationship.
Yeah.
With
for
one
sure.
skill. But you still took the risk. You still made the action. You executed a phone call. You set the appointment. You see?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it just all comes together. That's all. Yeah. So what we're saying here is this time next year, you're not going to be delivering, and you're going to be doing 20 deals a year, 30 deals a year, maybe even. And then Sebastian and Kim are going to teach you how to groom other people and run a team.
Yeah.
Because that's how it works, right?
Yeah. Shout out to Sebastian. Just let you know that's my plan.
But they're killing it this year. You all are. Really, my timeline and the ratification thread in the Facebook group is insane. Because I think back to when, like, it was just me and Eric running a team. And we would, like, get excited about $1 million weekends, meaning the team collectively ratified $1 million worth of deals. And it's like, now we're doing several million a day.
Yeah.
It's like 10 transactions a day is what's being, 10 contracts a day is what's being ratified right now under the company. So yeah, it is a little wild, but it's also not, because when you have vision, like, things are possible. So when other people are like, oh, that's crazy, or I can't believe this is happening, sometimes we sit back like, I fucking believe it.
This is the result of your work.
I believe it. This is how it's supposed to be. This is what we wanted. But people also get comfortable and complacent, right? And that's where, like, my life experience comes into play, is like, I know what it's like to lose it all. I know what it's like to have nothing, and I will never let that occur. Yeah. So it doesn't matter how high we go. There is no stopping. Like, it's foot on next season. I'm not content with number 2 in units. I want number 1.
Yeah. And
even then, what people don't tell you is that it's not about getting to where you want to be. The hard part's actually maintaining it. It's staying there. And that's why in the class we did, like, the climb, the song from Miley Cyrus, about, when you get to the top of any mountain, there's another one.
Keep going.
And if you don't keep going, like, what's your purpose? What are you doing? Just sitting around all day doing nothing? Like, you want to be productive and purposeful with your life and impact other people's lives. Well, if you guys like any of our content, you can click the link below. Please subscribe, share, follow. We appreciate it. Have a great day.
All right. Thanks.
Boom.